Okay, so now I've been through the basics. I think it's time to look at some of the more advanced things. So first I'll look at adding a song that's not in the songbook. And just for reference, this is basically where things are stored. So within FreeWorship, this is basically its database. We don't really want to directly modify anything in here, but just so you know, this is where all the files are stored. So when you fix them in FreeWorship, they are stored here. And in general, if we go to lyrics, this is where you're going to want to save new songs. So you want to put basically the raw data in here and then import it from there into FreeWorship. So, for example, this Sunday we have a congregational, and there's a couple songs that are not in the songbook, basically the ones without numbers. So let's try to get the lyrics for Good Father. So copy that. And what we do is we go into Song Select, so we have a basic account with them, and you just put the text in there, and hopefully the song is registered on Song Select by CCLI. So you put in that and you get 1,000 songs, but this is the top one that matches what we want. Some songs will be hard because the title will be very common and there'll be a lot of versions, so this may not work. But this is an example where it does work. I remember singing the song, so I'm pretty sure this is the right song for us. So and here's the lyrics. You could just copy and paste these in a text file, but it's even easier just to download them here. Find out where it's stored. And as Windows does its thing where it takes forever to find the file. I'm just going to go ahead and we'll copy it in here, and then once it's copied in here, I'll import it into FreeWorship, and we'll see if we need to make any changes before it's ready to go. This will be a lot more straightforward than some of the other songs where they're imported from PowerPoint and there's those artifacts. This is already basically organized in the right way that we want, with a verse, chorus, another verse, bridge, all these things. And it will have all the other information, which I'll show you in a moment in the library, basically, of FreeWorship, is how this is nice to have. Soon. Here we go, finally. Okay, so now I can copy this over. This is the raw song file. Now, if we go to FreeWorship, go to Tools and Manage Database, this is where all the songs are shown. So you can see there are a whole lot of them. And this is, right now, this is basically just the songs in our songbook, but we'll be adding more songs on eventually. So you can go to Import, and these are the different types of lyric formats you can use. FreeWorship uses this Open Lyrics, which is an XML file, but we can go to Song Select, CCLI, and Good Father. And then it adds it here. If there's any error, it'll show it in red. That's like a formatting error. So now it's in the database. Can't necessarily find it, so we will look it up. Good Father. And you see all the information is here, the title, the authors, and here's all the lyrics. You can also look in advanced info, so it gives you copyright and all this other information. For our songbook, I put the number here, but since this is not in our songbook, we don't do that. The one thing you're probably going to want to do for all the songs is to add basically a slide of the title. And one way to do that is just copy it in there and then type verse. The way FreeWorship works is it recognizes certain words like verse, chorus, refrain, bridge, exit, and automatically separates it into a separate part of the song. Spaces, it will also separate out, so you can do things like this, and it doesn't show it here, but when you go to project it, I'll show that in a moment, this will be on one slide, and the next slide you move over will be this one. But other than that, this is all you need to do to import a song. So that's Good Father. I'll go ahead and add that into the presentation. And so there. Okay, yeah, so it was just some bug with the program, not really sure what's going on. So here you have, let's go ahead and change the background. I'll pick, this is one of those Edison bulb images. So here's you have that, the next slide. So for example, this one, say I want to break it up over 2. I just enter here, and then there's the gap, and now it shows up as 3 and 4. And you can increase the font. And this is kind of a matter of opinion as far as kind of style, but generally you don't want to have a ton of text on the screen. It will mean you're changing things more often. I don't know the song that well off the top of my head, so I might not be breaking this in a natural spot, but that is an important thing to know. If, for example, I didn't like how I broke that up, it actually may not be the most direct way to edit. And so if I want to combine 4 and 5 back into 1, I can do it by cutting, pasting like that, but I don't really have access to change this here. So instead, I'll go back to the database, which gives you a little bit more control over the song. And now I can see it here. I can delete these extra things. And so basically, I can go and kind of more manually edit and modify this. So I'm going to take out those gaps and just kind of leave them all as big chunks. And I'll move around so it goes back to that, reloads it, and there you go. Now on to the more advanced features. So one thing you can do, which I'm actually going to try here, I don't do this normally, but if you want to have even more control over the song, you can go in and maybe edit it directly. So, okay, Goog. So if I edit it here in a text editor, one thing which I haven't seen inside of FreeWorship as a GUI option, but is in the songs and is part of the kind of lyric standard, is you can go in here and you can change the verse order. So, assuming that the chorus is between verse 1 and 2, between verse 2 and 3, and such, you can go in here, you can add C, and now you have the chorus between verse 1 and verse 2. Now, it's probably not true for this song, but just for example, I'm going to do that and see how that works. So now, if I go here, and I reload the database, it puts, see, it puts a chorus between 2 and 3. So this is not something you're probably going to ever need to do, but if you want to do a little more advanced or be a little more organized, this would be one way to not have to copy the chorus, but to just assign it the correct order. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because I'm not sure about this song. Save it and reload the database. And I'll move it around so it kind of reloads that song in the viewer here. Where's the song? There's the song. Okay. So that is one of the more advanced things you can do with FreeWorship. And then if you wanted to add pictures that aren't within here, you could do that also. What else is there? So there are a lot of settings that you can change, and there's also ones that you can't change very easily. But there are certain features that may be important. So let's see here. So licensing. I have it set so that the only license thing that shows up is the songbook number. We can also have other stuff in front of that, like the author and then the song number, but I want to keep it simple as possible. There are Bibles. I've never worked with loading up a Bible, but that would be something we can do in the future. Performance, if you're playing videos basically, and then we're getting issues, we can mess with that. Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention, which is very helpful and useful, is the basher. So if you go to, I think it's Control 4. So this stage basher, if I type in, say, hey Jason, and I want to send some message, this would basically send that message to just the confidence monitor. So that could be useful for certain situations. If I say Control 1, or let's see, Control 2, and say, you know, cars parked outside. That shows up down here. Normally, we can adjust how this shows up, but that would be a way you could put an image up for people. Let's see, Control. So this is something I might use. So hey, say, you know, red Buick is parked. Illegally. You could send that up and put this little banner down here over the top of whatever, you know, whatever's normally being presented. So that is something we can play around with, but it's one of the more advanced things, which can be helpful. So that's what I have for now, and yeah, hopefully you found this useful.